Welcome to Docutech's live webinar on delivering the closing disclosure on time, every time. I'm David Thompson, your host today, and with me I have Scott Stuckey, Docutech's Chief Strategy Officer, and Fred Gooch, Docutech's Vice President of Compliance. Today we're going to be focusing on a tool that Docutech has developed to streamline the communication process between a closer and a settlement agent in the loan process. This tool is our closing collaboration portal. During the webinar, we welcome you to submit your questions through the questions section of GoToWebinar. Our moderators will send us the questions to be answered. Also, there are several pieces of information in the handout section. Our webinar today will take approximately 20 to 30 minutes, and furthermore, we want to thank everyone for taking the time today to join our webinar, and we hope you enjoy the information we provide. Today, Scott Stuckey will be showing us the collaboration portal, and we'll be discussing why this tool is so critical in a trade environment. Scott, Fred, welcome.
Thanks so much, David. As you can see on my screen right here, this is a document screen, very similar to what you would see now if you're a Docutech client and we've generated a package. In this case, this is the pre-closing package, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute and explain what it is. As you can see, this is familiar. This is what it looks like now when you go to deliver a package. You'll notice that there's this button here that says collaboration. If you have the product set up and turned on, that will be active to you. Pretty straightforward. You click the button and it's going to ask you for the usual delivery information. Again, that can be pre-populated from your loan origination system. In my demo environment, it isn't set up that way. And you click send. Basically the exact same workflow to electronically deliver a package, whether it's a disclosure package to a borrower or a closing package to a settlement agent currently. And I will receive an email. This should also be very familiar to Docutech clients. This is the same format as our electronic delivery email works now. It can be HTML enabled so that it can be made to fit your brand or style sheet that you want to deliver. And our whole concept behind building this portal was to make this a simple process for the title or settlement agent. Not having to be complicated, figuring out what system are they signing into for what lender, or what do I have to do next, how do I process or handle this loan. Basically get the fee information and figure out, are the fees correct for this loan before the lender goes to issue the closing disclosure. They click on the doc link, very similar to what they do today, welcomes them into the portal. They click on the next button. We've got, I believe it's 23 different ways that we can authenticate the identity of the settlement agent to make sure the right loan information gets to the right person. In my case, I'm just using Property State because it's simple and I can remember it when I do a demo. There's an awful lot of other capability for authentication built in. Once you confirm your identity through that, this should look very familiar to most of the title agents that work with our lenders. It's the exact same screen and workflow as we have for e-delivery. It says that you're going to review the documents, and once you've done that, we want you to accept or decline, and that you've got the opportunity to download the documents and print them offline here as well if you don't want to do it all online. When you click the review button, we're going to load up the closing disclosure for you, and this is populated with the information and the fees that the lender has that have been sent over to the title or settlement agent. What we're asking them to do then is scroll through the entire document, and we track where they are and how far they've gone into the document to look at the various fees. Once they have scrolled all the way to the bottom, as you can see here, you'll notice that an accept and a decline button activate. In the event that the closing disclosure is correct and that the title or settlement agent wants to accept those fees as they are, they can click on the accept button. And upon doing that, an email will be sent back to the lender saying at this date and at this time, so-and-so title agent accepted these fees as accurate and correct. Then the closing disclosure can be issued and we'll start the 3-day clock. In most circumstances, that may well not be the case. Then they can click decline. And in that instance, we're going to open up the screen and say, hey, here are the fees that the lender displayed to you. And the title agent says, yeah, I think that's a transpositional error. I think that should have been $340 on the recording fees. And I'm noticing that there is not an HOA rekey for this buyer in this particular neighborhood that's required. So they would add that fee in here and say, I think those are all correct now. When they click update, it will say send that back to the lender, and we'll see an email going back that's very similar to what got received. right there. There's the resulting email. Sorry about that. And what that shows is two sections of fees. It shows this top section shows what's been modified or added, and as you can see here, the HOA rekey was added, so that would be a new fee the lender has to create in their loan system. And this particular fee says that it was modified, which was a recording fee where we had a transpositional error of $304 versus $340. This shows all of the original fees as originally sent over by the lender. So the lender would then take this and attach it to the loan record and say, this is how these fees were updated, enter the new fees into their loan origination system, and then they can order the closing disclosure, send it off to the borrower, and start the 3-day clock or the countdown. In a nutshell, that kind of is the closing collaboration portal. We've set it up and envisioned it. The idea was to create something that was easy to use, intuitive, both for our lender clients and for the title agents, because the title agents have got so much going on and they have to turn this information around so quickly. That's kind of how we set this up and designed it.
So at this point, we want to remind everyone that is viewing this to remember that you can submit questions throughout this webinar, so please submit your questions, and we'll get to those here in just a little bit. And we're going to go through kind of why we developed this product and the benefits of this.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that. As I think everyone knows, the CFPB had made an announcement asking for comment on potential delay of the effectiveness of the Know Before You Owe TILA-RESPA integrated disclosure rule. They have made the finalized decision to delay that until Saturday, October the 3rd. The Bureau believes that moving the effective date may benefit both industry and consumers and facilitate a smoother transition to the new rule. I think most people are aware of this, just wanted to publish and confirm that that has in fact been finalized. Did you have a question, David? It looked like one came in. No? Okay. Just reiterating, Docutech is your TRID headquarters. We've got the TRID Compliance Center. We have TRID-ready documents available. We do TRIDcasts twice a month, giving you information on latest things happening relative to TRID rules, regulations, and what's going on with the law. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that we're doing everything we can to make sure that you've got tools available and information available so that you can appropriately prepare for the Know Before You Owe rule, again, effective on Saturday, October the 3rd. So I think most people know that our clients in particular, those of you that don't work with Docutech, we have a dynamic document generation engine, and we serve multiple industries at this point in time, the mortgage lending industry and the consumer lending industry. And kind of the foundation for our services are built on our document generation engine. We also facilitate electronic delivery. We have electronic signature and vaulting capabilities. As you've seen here just a few moments ago, we have our collaboration portal. We also facilitate print fulfillment for paper out document services, and we fully support barcodes and the management of barcodes and electronic document packages. In the mortgage world, we use package types to deliver our documents because our document engine generates individual forms based on the data that we receive. We use package types to put together packages that are then delivered by the lender to the borrower or to the title agent as appropriate. Up on the top here, you see the package types that we have that are available that facilitate those services. In the middle section here, these are services that Docutech orders in addition to generating documents. We provide high-cost lending pred check and QM tests. We also have NMLS licensing management capabilities. As I mentioned before, we provide e-sign services. We have a Texas legal review for those of you that do loans in Texas and do not have an attorney relationship or are not based there with an attorney relationship. We can provide that service for you as part of our document generation engine. We offer the opportunity to get a MERS MIN number. We provide electronic signature and electronic delivery on the IRS 4506T documents. We provide LOS pushback, which delivers events and messaging back to a loan origination platform based on what's happening with the loan and the electronic delivery of the package. We also provide, as I mentioned, barcode support, and as you saw in our demo a minute ago, the collaboration portal. As far as delivery options, we offer two. They can be print fulfilled, where we call this kind of lick, stick, and stamp services, where we will print and mail the documents out to the borrower on your behalf, provide a full audit trail for that. That's tied to our electronic delivery, so that if a electronic package is delivered and for whatever reason a borrower does not pick that up after a certain amount of time, we will automatically print and mail that on the lender's behalf. And as I mentioned before, we provide full electronic delivery and a comprehensive audit.
So Scott, this might be a good place to stop. I know we did have a couple questions come in.
Okay.
Let's maybe just answer a couple of those. The first one that came in was, what do you have for post-closing identification of cures?
So this is Fred Gooch. The rule allows you and requires you within certain time periods to fix the closing disclosure if you find out post-closing that there were errors on the closing disclosure. And so in that circumstance, you would go through really the same process that you would utilize as you go to close the loan. You would be able to generate a revised closing disclosure inside of our Conformix system. You would also be able to utilize the closing collaboration portal to facilitate creating that post-closing closing disclosure. And that would help you facilitate making any changes to the fees that would need to be made as they were discovered further down the road.
Okay, looks like another question came in from a title agent, and they said, as a title agent, how will I sign up to use this?
At this point in time, there's no requirement to sign up whatsoever. We are leveraging the electronic delivery technology that we currently use today to deliver thousands of packages to title agents. You would receive an email, just as I showed in the demo, with the link in it, and you would operate just exactly as I showed you how it works there. It doesn't require any sign up. It doesn't require any certification. It doesn't require any unique password or ID to sign in. It basically operates exactly as you do if you're a title agent today doing business with a Docutech lender.
Right, and as a title agent, you wouldn't be able to use this with a non-Docutech.
That is correct. You would have to receive the email from a Docutech lender. That's correct.
So then one more, and then we can kind of continue on here. Once title accepts the CD, it says, I assume they can no longer make/submit changes. What happens if something does need changed after they accept?
If something does need to be changed after they accept, they would simply have to contact the lender and let them know, hey, we've got a change here, or this is what's happened. And again, that depending on how they choose to do that or what system they're using to generate the closing disclosure or potentially the ALTA settlement document that the title agent may be generating, it would depend on how they would use their system to generate that.
Right, you would simply just restart the process over again.
Correct.
To change something after it's done.
Great questions. I'm going to continue to move on just a little bit here. So this is the current package workflow in the gray squares that you see. And again, as I mentioned before, we use package types to deliver packages for various functions in the lending process. Currently, we offer a pre-disclosure package, an initial disclosure package, which is effectively the GFE today, a TILA redisclosure package for a redisclosed TIL, and a closing package to close the loan. And in the TRID world, we're going to be expanding that a little bit. There's going to be a pre-app package, which can provide a pre-application estimate. Then there's going to be our initial disclosure package will be the same, and it will include the loan estimate as well as all of the state and federal disclosures that are required. Instead of calling this package TILA redisclosure, we're renaming it the redisclosure package. It will replace the TILA and GFE redisclosure, and it will include the loan estimate. This is the new package that's kind of been the focus of what we're talking about today, and that is the pre-closing package that can be used with the collaboration portal as we showed you earlier in the demo. And we will use the closing package to deliver the closing disclosure and all of the final closing documents to title or settlement to get the loan closed, or as the CFPB says, to get the loan consummated. So here's what the package workflow looks like under TRID. As we mentioned, the pre-app package is optional. The other packages will be required to meet the know before you owe requirement. The initial disclosure will go out. In most instances, the lenders we're talking to intend to deliver that electronically and have it electronically signed, and use our print fulfillment service to back up in the event that the borrower doesn't pick the document up. Talked about the redisclosure concept, which is certainly going to happen as fees change or loan amounts change or the property changes. As you saw the demo for the collaboration portal, this is where it lives in the workflow. Takes the pre-closing package and delivers it to escrow or title. That again is going to happen electronically. And then we will deliver the closing package, which will include the finalized closing disclosure as well as all other documents necessary to close the loan. That will be delivered as it is today electronically, probably 95% of the time, or in certain instances it can be printed and mailed.
So it looks like we did have a couple more questions come in. These are great questions, guys, so thank you. This question says, I'm concerned with the need for the closing agent to enter the lender's email address. Is this something that can be pre-configured by lender, or is this something that the closing agent would need to enter each time?
It depends on the integration to the loan origination system as to whether or not the return address would be in that data payload. So in certain instances, the title agent would have to key it in other instances, it could potentially pre-populate.
Okay. Another question was, has there been any update on the ability to add a barcode to the loan estimate and closing disclosure? If the CFPB does not give this guidance, how do you see solving for this?
So this is one of those circumstances where the form is what the form is, and the CFPB gave us very strict definitions as to how the form has to populate, what has to be on each page, and there simply just isn't enough room on there for barcodes that most of our clients are using. And so there are some different solutions that you could look into. A cover sheet with simply a barcode to help code it. You could use a separate page, but it can't be part of the loan estimate. It would have to be a separate page, or like a placeholder that would be a barcode that you could utilize on that page that would then be used for your imaging system to properly categorize the documents after there. But I haven't seen any updates from the CFPB specifically on this issue, and it really comes down to a formatting issue and a form issue that we can't alter because of the guidance given to us by the Bureau at this point. We are seeking more clarification on that, but we haven't been able to get anything recently from the Bureau.
And then last question, we can kind of continue on with the presentation and webinar. Can you demo how the documents are delivered to the borrower and how we will document that the borrower received them to start the 3-day wait clock?
And that's something that we can set up a later demo or a presentation. Definitely contact our marketing department. We can show you how to do that personally. If there's enough interest in another webinar showing our capabilities to do that just for everyone, that's something that we can definitely consider as part of our normal TRIDCast series.
And we'll give that information at the end of the webinar today as well. So,
okay, I'll go on ahead and continue here. So why in the world did Docutech take the time and effort to build the closing collaboration portal? Well, the big change with the portal, with the know before you owe till arrest by integrated disclosures rule is, yes, there were 2 new forms, the loan estimate and the closing disclosure that the Bureau asked for us to create. They're complicated forms, and it's taken a fair amount of effort to do that. In our opinion, the big change relative to the know before you owe rule is the 3-day consummation situation. The regulation has forced lenders to deliver the closing disclosure 3 days prior to consummation. We felt like that's such a big process change for the industry that we needed an innovative solution that would allow lenders to validate the fees with the closing or settlement agent prior to getting that information out, as opposed to taking a guess or making a bunch of telephone calls, figuring out a way to have an audit trail and work together to innovatively solve that problem. So the portal drives closing accuracy by securely sending the closing disclosure to the settlement agent to ensure that those fees are validated before the lender issues it. The other change relative to the rules are that the lender is responsible for the fees and information that's on the closing disclosure, whereas all of you know today typically the title or settlement agent generates the HUD-1. That responsibility is now squarely on the lender's shoulders, and the lenders needed a way to make sure they had accurate information. So in summary, the fees can be validated before sending the closing disclosure to the borrower. We ensure that we've got an accurate closing disclosure with every loan. We have a familiar interface for our lenders to use because the workflow and the look and feel is exactly like it is today to electronically deliver a closing package to a settlement agent. We've enhanced the workflow, and based on a lot of input from settlement and title agents, we feel like we've simplified the process for them. The benefits this provides for you as a lender are accurate and compliant closing disclosures, simple settlement agent accept or decline and update features, and improved efficiency with minimalized rework.
So I think we have a couple more questions, and then it looks like we had a question that came up also asking us to go through the collaboration portal again before we end the webinar. So we can go ahead and do that.
We can do that, sure.
If I can make one comment here, David.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the closing collaboration portal and kind of the why behind it, and I think it's worth mentioning that the reason that you can have some advantages by using this portal is because it definitely speeds up your efficiency and your accuracy throughout the process. I mean, you can do this right now just by sending multiple closing disclosures back and forth through email, but this gives you an audit trail, and it gives you an easy way to document what was sent back and forth with each iteration of the closing disclosure. This becomes really, really important because of the provision in the rule that requires you to deliver the closing disclosure to the borrower 3 days before the consummation of the loan. And it becomes complicated because you've got information that is in the lender's system, the lender's LOS, that is really loan-centric, centric to the borrower and centric to the loan. And you've got information about the property transaction that is in the title agent's or the settlement agent's system. And so this collaboration tool is an effort to help meld that information together and to make that transfer of information simple and accurate. And that's really important for lenders because under the new rule, the lender is ultimately responsible for all of the content that is disclosed on the closing disclosure, as well as making sure that it is delivered in a timely manner to the consumer. So that's why we're seeing most of our clients and everyone throughout the industry that I've talked to, really the lenders are taking control of the process of delivering the closing disclosure and making tools like this very important to aid your accuracy and your tracking and your auditing purposes as you go forward. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
Awesome,
David.
thank you. So it looks like another question came in. It says, will you also send us a link for this webinar? Some of us had trouble signing in, so we're not able to attend the webinar. Just for everyone's information, this will be available after this webinar is over. We will be recording this and publishing it online, and we'll give you that information at the end of today's session. Another question that I thought was great says, when can we test this?
And this, you can work with your account manager here at Docutech, and we can set this up in a test environment for you now.
So it is available to
It
test
is currently
now.
available for testing, yes.
Okay, another question that came in, will Docutech recognize the application date and still generate the TIL and GFE if needed?
Yes. Yep. The system has a trigger that is set either directly by your LOS or based on the application date to know which documents need to print in which loan package.
Okay. And then another question that we had come up says, is there any additional cost for print fulfillment options?
Yeah, print fulfillment is an additional service. You can talk to the folks in the sales organization and they can get you pricing on what that service would be. So I will go on ahead and step through the closing collaboration portal one more time. It doesn't take very long, just take a minute or two here if you didn't see it before. Again, the familiar documents order screen I was just on right there. And the same process as sending out an email with a closing package currently. In the current world, this is the same workflow, same basic screen concept. You go send a secure email with a link in it will be sent out to the email address. In this case, it's going to be to a title agent. Jump over here and grab that. And again, this is an HTML-enabled email, so this can be branded or set up in a style sheet to represent a logo or a particular visual image. Title agent clicks on the link, and they authenticate in based on a number of different security options that can be set up by the lender. Again, I've dumbed this way down and made it very, very simple so that I never forget my demo loan is in the state of Ohio, and that makes it simple. In most instances, they use a property address, borrower last name, social, or combinations of that kind of information. And we've entered the portal. It's asking us to review the documents, and it says to click accept or decline button that appears. If we want to review the documents offline, we've got the option to print them down here. The documents load into the review window, and this is the closing disclosure with all of the information from the lender system and all of the fees that the lender has for the loan. We require the settlement agent to review the entire document, and we keep track of where they have looked or not looked. Once they get to the bottom, the accept or the decline buttons activate. In the event that the fees all looked correct to the title or settlement agent, they could click accept, and the secure email link would go back saying that so such and such title agent had accepted this as of this date and as of this time. The reality is in many instances they're going to decline that because they don't have all of the information necessary for the loan. Some reasonable examples of that would be here you notice the recording fee is $304. That should actually be $340. It was a transpositional error. Title agent caught it and updated it. And they noticed that there's no HOA rekey, which would be something pretty difficult for a lender to know about anyway. And they put that in there. And when they click update, send that back to the lender. An email will go back to the lender saying, hey, we got this update back from the settlement agent, and it will show a full audit as Fred described. There it is. It will show a full audit as Fred described of what were the fees that were sent, which is this information, and what was added, right up here, the HOA rekey, and what was modified, the recording fees. So in a nutshell, that's the closing collaboration portal. Again, this can then be attached to the loan file. For audit purposes, this information updated in the loan origination system, and the closing disclosure issued, and the 3-day clock starts.
Okay, so just to be respectful of everyone's time on the webinar today, we've got a couple more questions that we're going to go through real quick, and then we will wrap up. One of the questions was, can you use a system if you do not utilize eSign?
Can you use it without eSign? Yes, you can. No problem at all.
Okay. Another one that came in, I think I missed something. We do not use a portal to the settlement agents now. How do we get that set up, or is it automatic?
If you're using eDelivery to deliver loans now, you use the eDelivery function that this leverages. The portal is simply an extension of functionality that's built around our eDelivery mechanism. So today, if you're a Docutech client and if you deliver closing packages electronically to settlement, you use the eDelivery service. What the portal is simply an extension of that that allows the title or settlement agent to go in and review the fees and add and update them. Today, they would simply download the documents and print them in title and go about closing the loan.
Okay. Also, can you confirm that the pre-closing package is for sending to the title agent and not the borrower?
That is correct.
But you will utilize part of the pre-closing package to deliver to the borrower as well.
To start the clock.
To start the clock, right? So it actually
your second delivery is to do it to the borrower. That's correct.
This closing collaboration portal functionality is found within the pre-closing package. That's where the buttons will appear in ConformX and the functionality. The first stage of that will be to work with the settlement agent for collaboration. The second portion of that will be delivering the document to the borrower with all the tracking and all the functionality that you already have for your current disclosures in Docutech.
Okay, looks like we have two more questions here. Will the collaboration tool be available for pre-TRID and TRID loans? If not, what data point triggers the collaboration tool to become available?
Yeah, the collaboration tool is not available in production prior to the TRID effective date of 10/3. And that's triggered, as Fred had mentioned earlier, based on the application date or on information passed to us from the loan origination system.
Okay. And then last question, will the title agents have to use multiple tools from various companies like BK and some others?
Well, again, the title agents are going to be at the mercy of what their lender is asking them to do. And some of the feedback that we got from title and settlement agents was that that was going to be a confusing world for them because there were multiple systems, multiple sign-ons, I have to request this or sign up to use it. That was why we decided to not require any kind of a special sign-on, not require any kind of a request, basically mimicking and leveraging the process we use to electronically deliver a closing package today, just giving them the ability to edit and update the fees and send it back prior to the closing disclosure being delivered.
Okay. And then it looks like, I apologize, we had two more questions come in. One said, in terms of getting fees right up front, can this be used with initial disclosures as well to confirm fees?
So not right now. You wouldn't use it with an initial disclosure package. That's something that we can definitely look into. I think that there would be some challenges there because of the time frame being once you have the application, you've got to get those disclosures out quickly, and whether that collaboration can all be facilitated in that period of time. But the answer is not now, but that's something that we would definitely be interested in looking at if there was a demand out there for it.
Okay. And it looks like the last question, if we use Docutech only for initial disclosures, can we still use it to generate the CD and use the portal?
Not if you're only using us for initial disclosures. We wouldn't have the pre-closing package type turned on for you.
Yeah, but we could turn it on
We could certainly turn it on and do it, but it would be an
it.
additional service you'd have to use.
Yep. So it's something that you could do, but it would
It's
be
possible.
turned on.
Right.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that's all the questions that we had come in. A big thanks to both of you for being here today and sharing how crucial this new tool is for the industry. So thank you, Fred, and thank you, Scott.
Happy to do so.
Thanks, Dave.
And a big thanks to all the attendees today. Thank you for all the questions. We do appreciate it. If you would like to see a personalized demo of Docutech's closing collaboration portal, please email us at marketing@docutechcorp.com. You can also check out our TRID resource page at docutechcorp.com/TRID. Again, we thank you for your time and have a great day.